Derek, talk to me about this complaint and what you hope to see come from it.
Well, we wanted to make sure that the federal government clearly understand that the state of Mississippi have been receiving federal funds for the purpose of maintaining and strengthening our water infrastructure under the Clean Water Act. And what has happened over almost 3 decades, the state, once they receive the money, they reallocate those funds in a very inequitable way, and in many cases, away from the city of Jackson, the oldest water infrastructure in the state, in our opinion, in an attempt to starve the system of resources to create system failure, ultimately to take it over. We find that this action is inhumane. I'm a resident of Jackson. I was impacted by the water crisis, but this is not just unique to the state of Mississippi and Jackson. This is a problem that is looming all across the country.
Well, talk to me. I want to get to sort of the bigger problem and how we see this play out in other places, but I do want to ask Jackson how much of this comes down to the politics of having a blue city in a red state.
Well, in the state of Mississippi, racial politics supersede partisanship. And in many cases, you can define the racial makeup of the state based on political parties. And so, yes, it's partisanship, but it is old school racism. The state of Mississippi is a poverty state. All those who are means, they have been living off poverty for many decades. And so what they have done is leverage the state's demographics to receive federal funds. We receive almost, for every $1 in tax dollars we put in, we receive between $9 and $12 back. They get those federal funds and they divert them away from communities of needs, whether it's based on race or poverty, but those individuals are using it to increase their profits.
Listen, I think it is interesting that you are taking a legal approach here. I wonder if you think that is how you ultimately remedy the situation, or if it's going to have to be a combination of legal action and political will.
It was absolutely everything, right? We filed an administrative complaint with the current EPA for them to investigate the state of Mississippi's actions. You know, the state legislators went so far when the citizens, the residents, the city administration asked if they can levy a tax on themselves to cover the cost of the water treatment facility. The state of Mississippi said, no, you can't even levy a tax on yourself. When it was opportunity to we needed monies to pave our roads and infrastructure. The state of Mississippi said, we'll let you levy a tax get yourself, but there has to be an oversight board that we have appointments on. This is a state that's just had the largest misappropriation, corruption in the state's history of almost $100 million in TANF funds that they did not allocate to recipients in needs, but they gave for speaking fees for people like Brett Favre. We have a system failure, not with our water system, but with state government that are using federal funds to further inequities, and we must address it.
I have about 30 seconds left, but I want to loop back to the point that you made about the fact that this isn't just happening in Jackson, it isn't just happening in Mississippi. The EPA launched a new office last week charged with advancing environmental justice and civil rights. I wonder if you think that is part of the solution here.
It is absolutely part of the solution. It's consistent with the president's commitment. It's consistent with the interests of EPA and the current administrator. And it's absolutely important that this office have teeth to really enforce. When we look at different states, we're going to find this in Alabama. We're going to find this in the Carolinas. We're actually going to find this in other states. We must do more for our citizens, all of our citizens, not just some of our citizens.